I have a watch which belongs to the DW-5600 series, but sadly, nobody even talks about it. You all know the DW-5600. If you make a dark version of the DW-5600, you will get this watch. But I'm not saying it in a bad way. It does have its perks, but let's start with the specifications of the watch. The DW-5610SU is a negative display version of the DW-5600. It has a length of 48.9mm, a width of 43.8mm, and a height of 13.5mm. It weighs 52 grams, has a resin case and body, is covered by a mineral glass, it is shock resistant, and has 200 meters of water resistance as well. It also has the usual features of the G-Shock like alarm, stopwatch, timer. This model has a negative display and an EL backlight. The build quality of this watch is really great. It is very similar to the GA2100 as well as the DW5600. It's not the most premium, but still it hits the right spots. It doesn't feel too sweaty in your hand, neither. The resin is not of very poor quality, but it is of a very decent quality for an entry-level G-Shock. There is a small difference in this watch and a similarity to the GA2100, which I'll get back to later. The backlight of this watch is not the standard LED backlight, but an EL backlight. I don't know, this might be one of the first G-Shocks I've seen with an EL backlight. If you know any other model which has an EL backlight, please do let me know. The EL backlight in this watch looks really good. In spite of it having a negative display, it's mostly legible in most places, and the EL backlight just hits different. And it has this vintage Casio vibe to it, which I have not seen in a very long time. It's a really good backlight. If you like the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as I do everything related to watches and watches only. And thanks to Ratsan Watch Company for sponsoring this video. More on them in the description. Many G-Shocks nowadays has a negative display, which I don't like most of the time, but I don't know why Casio is making 90% of their watches negative display now, and most of them are G-Shocks, like the GA2100 or the GBD-H2000 or the GBD300. Everything is a negative display, but they have made this negative display much better. At least you can see the negative display in most of the light conditions. Only sometimes when you're tilting your hand or something like that, you cannot see it, but this is a very good looking negative display, which I like as well as dislike about this watch. The DW5600 was released in 1987. 33 years later, in 2020, this watch was released. And it was during a very hard time as well, so people might have not known about this watch. So the major difference between this watch and the DW5600 is the negative display and backlight. And there's a very minor size difference between these watches. The DW5610 is 1mm wider, 0.1mm thicker. There are two other differences in this watch. One is it has a double molded case. That's why the name 5610, the 10 represents the double molded case, which is an added feature of this watch which you can't literally see, but still you know that it is there. But there's one advantage and disadvantage between the 5600 and the 5610SU is that the 5600's battery lasts approximately 5 years, whereas the 5610SU lasts only approximately 3 years. So there is a disadvantage in that as well. Those were the differences I could find between these watches after racking my brain, because both of them had literally the same specifications and almost the same size with very minor difference. There is another good thing as well. So this watch was one of the first watches to adopt the easy deployable class. Released in 3 versions, a green, a black and a camouflage version. Camouflage version had interchangeable straps. This watch has a similarity with the GA2100. So if you have a GA2100, you can swap straps between that watch and this watch. Now Casio has been doing this in the recent models, but this was the first one to do it. This watch is priced at $7,995, which is not a bad price, but for an entry-level G-Shock, this is how much you pay. But now the watch is 30% off. It's a great deal if you want to buy one. As such, which is going on right now, up to 50% off in all Casio watches. Go to Ratsan Watch Company, you will get any of the Casio watches available up to 50% off. So when it comes to the price of this watch, I don't say it's a very bad price, but you get the standard DW5600, 1,500 rupees lesser than this watch. I don't know why this is expensive for a negative display, but still, you get the OG, 1,500 rupees less. If you're lucky enough to get it in a discount, you get it much lesser. So I would prefer the standard over this model. This watch is more for a person who wants to get a negative display version of the 5600. So normally, upon my experience, most of the Casios I own are negative displays because to the Indian market, you get a lot more negative display watches than positive displays. This watch has a lot of great features which the 5600 has, as well as the negative display and the EL backlight. Some people might not like the negative display, but the EL backlight is actually really great and I like the look and feel of the watch. Overall, if you're a person who wants to get out of the stereotype of buying a standard 5600, going for this watch can be something new, and you have an option to actually change the strap you're liking. Unlike the 5600, which is having a molded strap, you can't do that. I have a good news. The DW5600 as well as the DW5610SU is compatible with slim wrist people. So if you have a wrist of 6.5 inches or less, you can perfectly buy this watch. For me, the DW5600 was quite small, so I didn't buy that one. Another advantage with the 5610SU is that you have customizable strap options. And this is a unisex watch where both men and women can wear, as it was a little smaller compared to other G-Shocks. So the customization in this watch when it comes to straps is just endless. So you can mix and match or do anything you want. That is a very great advantage of this watch because of its form factor. So these were my thoughts about the Casio 5610SU. And if you have a friend who wants to buy one of these negative display 5600s, share this video to them. And please do visit Ratsan Watch Company. They have the model in stock. You can get one on discount as well. So please do visit them and check them out. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.